Cobra Kai. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. I could go on all day about this show. I think it's one of the most amazing shows to be on TV in a very long time. Cobra Kai does a fabulous job of paying homage to the actual source material, showing respect for the franchise, getting all of the plot points correct, getting the characters back from those original movies. It's just amazing stuff. It also is a real heartfelt story about now grown. These people have learned from their mistakes and tried to fix them, or they haven't learned enough lessons, or they keep repeating the same mistakes, all of which lead to growth, development, and lessons for them, for the children they are trying to guide, for the families they are trying to raise. And all of this is done in a deeply personal, meaningful, and insightful way. They do reference, obviously, contemporary events in the world sort of in passing, but they don't try to be preachy about them or really address them. They're just sort of there. I can't say enough good stuff about Cobra Kai. Now, this is what's critical in my view. Growing up, there were 4 Karate Kid movies in the original Miyagi verse, and there were toys and there was a cartoon, but for most of us, it was not the lasting sort of franchise of Star Wars, even Star Trek for the nerds that loved sci-fi, G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man. Karate Kid was just really not in that same sort of league, and yet we all saw them. They were good movies. There were a couple of weak ones, but it was a cool story, especially the first one. We all knew what it was. We knew the basics of it. But I think Cobra Kai has brought it back in a way that while it pays homage to all of that stuff that came before, it's really improved upon it. It's really made it much more of a thing, far more likely to have the t-shirt than I would have in the 1980s at any point. If it had been like this then, we probably would have, more of us, collected the toys and other things. I think the most critical thing is the way that they pay respect to the original material, and they do it in a way where they improve on it. And I can't emphasize that enough. As great as the story was of Daniel and Johnny and their competition, as great as the basic story with Mr. Miyagi and all that was, there were weak points throughout the 4 movies. Now this season, we just got Terry Silver back, and Terry Silver was one of the weak points of the original franchise. I mean, he was kind of weird. He was kind of wild. The character, I don't know. He did not make a great villain. He was weird. And bringing him back into it because he was a part of this Miyagi-verse and doing it so fabulously. This is the thing that the Cobra Kai team is doing so well. Terry Silver not only comes back, he's far more badass than he ever was before. In fact, he sort of addresses his own goofiness as we meet him when he talks about how he spent a whole year obsessing with a high school kid in a karate tournament. And he was also doing a lot of cocaine back then, which sort of put into context of, oh, okay, I can see that now. That's, as an adult, I can see why that would make him that weird in that movie. So they've done amazing of bringing Johnny back, of bringing Daniel, of giving us insight, eliminating the simplistic good guy, bad guy thing, giving us now a multi-generational story with the kids. And, Daniel, one of his kids who acts out, but then, the girl, she becomes better through karate, but now his son, we've learned, has been a bully. And so it's not as simple as this is a good family, this is a bad family, these are good guys, these are bad guys. They've given us a much more complex and nuanced universe, but they've done it so well that it is incredibly entertaining. It pulls you in. The thing that I hope to see, they're saying it's going to be a 5-season arc with only 1 season left. We have seen a Elizabeth Shue, of course, among the myriad of others who come back. But we have not yet seen Hilary Swank's character from the fourth film, and we have not yet seen Robin Lively, the love interest from one of the earlier films. Now, the Hilary Swank film, it included Mr. Miyagi. He is in the story and he teaches her. I emphasize that because it was probably the weakest of all the movies. It came later. It was sort of an attempt to continue it in a way that would maybe revitalize it. It was sort of woke before its time by dealing with having it be a girl protagonist, having the female protagonist as the high school student. And it just really did not work out well. But as I said, if Terry Silver can return as a serious badass character, then they can certainly bring back in Hilary Swank's character. At some point, her coming back maybe to visit the grave of Miyagi. We don't know where she lives now, but somehow her coming across even Cobra Kai, something that triggers her memory and getting her in the story, I think would really bring it to completion, especially if they're going to do a 5-season story arc. There's some of these loose ends that you've got to get. You've got to get Robin Lively. You've got to get Hilary Swank. You've got to get some of those other folks back in there and get it into the mix to really wrap it up well. But I love Cobra Kai. I can't say enough good stuff about the job they've done of dealing with it philosophically, emotionally, the interpersonal stuff. I mean, it's all deeply profound without being boring or preachy. It's just beautifully done. The nostalgia is there, obviously, but it's not the only thing, and this is the key. They're doing the nostalgia part very well, but they're using it to draw you into the contemporary stuff that they are also doing very well. They're not just throwing in the old stuff to get your attention so they can feed you some new crap that they've made up that's not consistent. The consistency of this with the whole all over Miyagi-verse is just amazing and impressive and wonderful, and I love it, and I give it multiple thumbs up. I love Cobra Kai, and if they do the 5-season arc and wrap it up, I think that's the best, because it's one of those things too, you can't really do 12 years of it without dragging out too far, but to bring it all back, to bring all those characters around and give us their development where they are now, and give us something that comes to a satisfying conclusion, that would be the perfection, and that will be something, if they achieve that, already this is going to be something I will binge over and over throughout the years, but if they can achieve that whole 5-season arc to be something that you do every so often, re-binge it, it'll be just even that much more amazing artistically, as just incredible fiction, incredible storytelling. I love it. Anyway, I'm just rambling now. Watch it, love it, enjoy it. I even signed up for Netflix, which I got rid of years ago. Every year I go back and sign up for 1 month so that I can binge the season of Cobra Kai. I've also been binging Lost in Space, but I'll review that later because I think that's really gone far afield. The Cobra Kai, strike first, strike hard, no mercy.